Hannah loves her sister more than anything in the world, but she's also terrified of her. The last time Hannah saw her, her younger sister was holding a kitchen knife, accusing her of working with spies to poison her food. She wasn't seeing Hannah. In her eyes, she was a threat. And now, their parents want her sister to come live with her. So she's left with an impossible choice: her sister's well-being or her own. Let's see if you agree with my take at the end. It wasn't always this terrifying. For anyone with a sister, that bond is a familiar one. Hannah was the fiercely protective older sister, and the younger one was her little shadow. That's what breaks her heart the most, remembering the person she was before the illness set in. When Hannah's sister hit her late teens, things started to change. It was subtle at first. She pulled away from friends, her grades started to slip, and she just spent hours in her room not saying a word. Their parents chalked it up to just teenage angst and that she was going through a phase. But then came the paranoia. The younger sister would talk about people following her, about hidden cameras in her room, and her conversations became nearly impossible to follow. For many families dealing with schizophrenia, there's usually one pivotal moment that finally makes everything click, where difficult behavior is suddenly redefined as an illness. For their family, that moment was when the younger sister had her first full psychotic break. The brilliant, funny girl that Hannah had grown up with was just gone, and in her place was a stranger, completely consumed by delusions and a fear she believed was real. While most people with schizophrenia aren't violent, an important insight is that aggression can often be directed at family members, not because of malice, but because of intense fear and confusion. So the incident with the knife wasn't the first time things had gotten scary, but it was the worst. It was the moment Hannah realized her love for her sister and her fear couldn't coexist anymore. After a period of relative stability, her sister had stopped taking her medication, which is unfortunately a common thing that happens. Hannah had just come over to drop off some groceries, and within minutes, her entire personality had shifted. Hannah's sister started screaming wild accusations and then picked up a knife and started threatening Hannah. Unfortunately, this led to her being committed. Now, her sister is about to be released, and she has nowhere to go. Their parents, after years of this and being exhausted and overwhelmed, have asked Hannah to do the unthinkable: let her sister move into her one-bedroom apartment. They see it as the only option left. She sees it as a direct threat to her sanity and her safety. The guilt is crushing, but she just keeps replaying that day in the kitchen, the look in her sister's eyes, and how her terror made her so dangerous. And this experience is sometimes called a sibling burden. And it's a very real phenomenon that puts siblings at a higher risk for depression and anxiety. Her therapist says that she has to set boundaries to protect herself, that being compassionate does not mean that she has to sacrifice her own safety. But how do you explain a boundary like that to someone when their illness won't let them understand? Her refusal isn't because she doesn't care. It's a boundary that she has to draw because of a pattern of behavior that makes living together feel completely unsafe. Now, for anyone out there who has been in a situation like this, who's had to choose between a loved one's desperate needs and their own safety, this story is for you. It's a truly impossible situation to be in. And if you've ever faced a similar choice, sharing how you navigated it in the comments could help someone else who feels just as alone, because your stories matter. So, Hannah has to say no. And I don't think that makes her an asshole in this situation. But saying no can feel like a betrayal. And saying yes feels like setting everyone up to fail. Sometimes support has to mean fighting for them to get the right kind of help, the kind that comes from structured, professional environments, because there are other options that are better equipped to handle her sister's needs than living in the tiny apartment with her. Thanks for judging that one with me on Am I the Asshole But Zen? Let's see a few verdict changes next time.